Anybody on the family comp package which previously didn't get live football matches would automatically get live football matches. The value savings on this, 50%. Compact, currently going at 380 Ghana cedis, gets those who are on the Paddy Bouquet subscription. You currently pay 59 Ghana cedis. When you pay 59 Ghana cedis, you get upgraded automatically to Access, which is valued at 99 Ghana cedis, and you get 35 more channels. This represents a 40% savings if you were to pay for the Access yourself. Second bouquet, Access, currently going at 99 Ghana cedi. If you retain your Access bouquet at 99 Ghana cedi, MultiChoice will bump you up to the family bouquet, which is currently priced at 190 Ghana cedis. You get 90 more channels, which means that if you were to stay on Access and get bumped up, for the value you get, you make a savings of 48%. Anybody on the family comp package which previously didn't get live football matches would automatically get live football matches. The value savings on this, 50%. Compact, currently going at 380 Ghana cedis, gets bumped up automatically to Compact Plus, which is priced at 570 Ghana cedis. You get 12 more channels in addition, and the value savings, 33%. Compact Plus, valued at 570 Ghana cedis. You pay that, you're automatically bumped up to Premium, which goes at the price of 865 cedis. You get 18 more channels and a value of 34%.
But the big question is this what Ghanaians really asked for? For those of you who say this is a failure on the part of the minister, well, he has this response for you. He spoke to Tutu Adanso on Saturday earlier.
After this press conference, there were some people, especially on social media, who, said that, well, if I didn't ask for Compact Plus and I'm comfortable with Compact, why should I pay for Compact and get Compact Plus instead of having the price for the Compact actually reduced? How do you respond to this?
There are people who, even if Jesus Christ decided to come and hold their hand and take them to heaven, they'll say they don't like heaven. So you can't seek to please everybody. But for objectives' mind, there's a reason why people choose bouquets. Bouquets, that's why the offering comes in bouquets. Every bouquet, there's a reason for it. So if you want to watch Premier League matches, you know that to watch Premier League games, you need to have a Compact Plus bouquet. If you want to be able to watch Champions League matches, you need to have a Premium bouquet. So people don't just pick bouquets because they like the name of the bouquet.
Right.
They pick bouquets because of the content in that bouquet.
So Elder Sam George there with the biblical analogy about if Jesus comes to hold people's hands, people will still say, I will not go. And so that's the answer for you on this particular one. But let the conversations continue, because people are also talking about the whole kinky analogy, banco analogy. I don't know where that leaves us. But then what the minister says is that this is indeed a better deal than anticipated. Well, welcome to the show. But if you're looking for a smarter, more secure and eco-friendly way to stay connected, it's time to live seamlessly with MTN's eSIM. Enjoy the ultimate convenience of multiple numbers on one phone, switching seamlessly without swapping SIM cards, and activated instantly from your home on My MTN app. You can also now experience enhanced security with an embedded eSIM that cannot be stolen or damaged. Plus, you get to pay your part in contributing to a greener planet. All you need to do is to dial *#06# to check your phone's eligibility and download My MTN app to go seamless with MTN eSIM today. For more inquiries, just call 100 or contact MTN on any of their digital channels. So let's get into the conversations tonight. And my first guest has joined me all the way from the United States of America. Dr. Arthur Kennedy is joining me via Zoom to have a conversation on the UN General Assembly address issued by President John Dramani Mahama. He touched on quite a number of issues that has generated a lot of conversations. And then we'll also dovetail into the New Patriotic Party and what is happening within the party as it stands now. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Good evening to your viewers.
Absolutely. So, Doc, let's start from the UN General Assembly. Your initial remark and overview of the presentation by President John Dramani Mahama.
I think that his speech was delivered very well prepared and very well delivered. So I think that Ghana and Africa should be proud. Our case was made well from an African perspective. Of course, I and others around the world, particularly patriotic Africans, can contend about the issues and the perspectives he brought. But I think the speech was delivered well.
But there are some who say that, yes, even though it was eloquently delivered, there was nothing new in the speech, because these the concerns that he raised are concerns that have been raised by leaders, even from Ghana, for the past years.
And that actually is a valid point. I think, for example, that he elaborated a little more on the reparations debate. He also talked about the value of immigrants. So, yes, they are old issues, but he brought some new perspectives and new arguments to them. However, I think, though, that the critics are right, that not just President Mahama, but African leaders are a little bit stuck in the past and stuck on complaining. I think that there are things and perspectives that we need to address that maybe we have not addressed in the past. And to go on, if you look at my comments on his speeches, for example, he spent quite a bit of time talking on migration. I think migration is a very important issue, and it is strange that African leaders always harp on migration and how the West is treating us and the value of migration to the West, which is valid. But among ourselves as Africans, I think that our record on migration tolerance has been very spotty. You remember Ghanaians kicked out Nigerians. They retaliated by kicking us out. And recently, South Africans have been attacking immigrants on the streets of South Africa. So looking at those perspectives, it is very difficult for us to make the case that maybe our immigrants are not being treated as well as they should. I think, though, that when one looks at the future of immigration, there will come a day when, as President Mahama said, Africans are very soon going to be 25% of the world. Maybe they'll get above the 25%. But having said that, of course, India is already 25% of the world. China is 25% of the world. I see, though, given the demographic crisis that the West seem to be coming into, the West and even China and Japan, more and more Africans, frustrated by the failure of our continent to take flight, will find their way to these countries and become vital solutions to the demographic crises. And I think that it will leave Africa in a worse state than it is now. That is on the demographic crisis and migration.
Right. And still with the migration issues, there are some who believe that in as much as the president was quite vocal and authoritative on his stance when it comes to migration matters, I mean, just a few weeks ago, he also accepted deportees from the United States of America, which they say goes contrary to what he actually championed at the UN General Assembly.
Well, I mean, that one, you can look at it either way. In effect, I think, though, that when people are being asked to leave, they must leave for somewhere. And I think the president had a reasonable point that if ECOWAS nationals who have a right to come to Ghana without visas are sent to Ghana, it is not very terrible. But having said that, I think Africa must make a collective argument to the West and the rest of the world instead of just going to cut side deals about who would accept the immigrants and who will not accept the immigrants. But charity begins at home. Before we go lecturing the rest of the world about how they treat our immigrants, very soon we'll be lecturing Europeans about Africans who get to Southern Europe and are not treated well. But when they are crossing the Sahel, when they get to places like Mauritania and Libya, they are treated very badly. When they get to South Africa, on the streets of South Africa, people chase them, and sometimes people are even killed. And I have already referred to Ghana and Nigeria. Ghanaians have been killed before in Gambia and Cote d'Ivoire as immigrants. So it seems as if that among ourselves, we need to treat migrants better. But I think that the broader question of migration, the reason why Africans are so interested in emigrating is because back home we are not doing the things that we need to do. People need to be able to finish school, or young people need to be able to find reasonable careers back home. Whatever happens, there will be some migration, but a majority of our youth ought not to be looking to migrate.
And finally, on that, would you say that President Mahama struck the right balance between defending Africa's interests globally, but also, in a way, was able to present the challenges of Ghana equally?
I wouldn't say that he presented the challenges of Ghana equally. I have already referred to some of the things that Africa must do. But talking about the challenges of Ghana, for example, the president linked migration to global warming. And I think that was the weakest part of his speech. None of the prominent migrants he mentioned, including Kofi Annan and the Ghanaian woman who is a judge in U.S., were actually what do they call climate migrants. All of them went there either for economic opportunity or for career advancement, and that is how come those people ended up abroad. So talking about climate change is particularly egregious because even while we talk about global climate change and it is legitimate and Trump is wrong about whether or not there is actually global warming, we should focus on sanitation and environmental degradation. We cannot solve galamsey here and want to lecture the rest of the world. I think that charity begins at home. We need to be doing the things that we can do here to preserve our environment and to preserve our water bodies. Because if you turn on the tap in Accra and it is brown stuff that is coming out and you lift your head to your TV set and your president is lecturing the rest of the world, it gives a jarring feeling of insincerity.
Right, I know I said that was the final one on this, but briefly and very final on this matter, in terms of the call he made when it comes to what is happening in Gaza. Earlier, the minority had raised concerns about the foreign minister, Okudzeto Ablakwa, making similar commentary about describing what is happening there as genocide, but the president echoed that strongly at the UN General Assembly. What's your thoughts on that?
It is a legitimate call that was weakened by two factors. I think that whoever wants to condemn what is happening in Gaza should condemn what happened on October 7th. You cannot do one without the other. And the second thing is that there ought to be an unambiguous call for the release of the Gaza hostages. Part of the reason why, quote unquote, the genocide is going on is the fact that there are hostages who have not been released. But even on that one, I respectfully think that the hypocrisy of Africa becomes very obvious. The president himself said there were 12 million refugees from Sudan, and yet we are talking about Gaza while African warlords are killing one another. There is a civil war in Sudan. There's a civil war in South Sudan. We have President Trump trying to solve the Rwanda DRC crisis that has gone on for 30 years and is killing us. It means that Africa, while we pontificate about the global weaknesses, can't even solve our own problems. I do not think that it gives any of us hope that something can be done. when Nigeria has not solved Boko Haram in over 2 decades, when Africa cannot solve South Sudan or Rwanda, and we are looking to Trump to solve problems like that, and when Ghana cannot solve the Boko crisis and cannot solve the Damango crisis.
Quite interesting. But let's talk about your party, the New Patriotic Party. Currently, happenings in the party do not portend well for the party, even though we are told that, well, with the MPP, internal contests are always really heated, among others. Now, there are calls for the Ashanti Regional Chairman as well as the Bono Regional Chairman to be dealt with and sanctioned. Really, what's your take on that?
Well, my take on that is that, as Dr. Bawumia famously said regarding the economy, when you ignore the exchange rate, the fundamentals will expose you. We have ignored the fundamentals in the party. After the 2024 defeat, there should have been a new set of elections for party leaders to clear the deck, so that those who performed well will have their mandates renewed, those who didn't do well will be changed. I think the fundamental question that the party leadership keep dancing around is that people have lost confidence in the current party leadership. It needs to be changed. It is not just Abronye, it is not just Wontumi, it is not just the incumbent executives who are following one candidate around. It is not just that the flag bearership contest was cooked up to give one person an advantage. It is a general feeling that the current group of leadership have lost the confidence of the party, and the best thing to do is to have a clean slate and let them go back to renew their mandate before they do anything.
As it stands now, what will be, you talk about renewing mandate and getting a clean slate, but the party says January next year they're electing the flag bearer, and then subsequently we'll be looking at electing national officers.
I think that is a mistake, and since I pointed that out, events have increasingly come to confirm that. And if you can poll the people who are the flag bearer aspirants, a lot of them do not have confidence in the ability of the current leadership to run an honest election.
Right.
And it is important. It is fundamental that party members have confidence in the process, because when we have confidence in the process, then we can support whoever is produced by that process, and then we'll have a very good chance of winning. Remember, 20% of Mr. Mohammed's votes came from MPP members, 1.2 million voters. With those votes, Dr. Bawumia will be sitting in Flagstaff House now. If we do not restore confidence and get those people back who have, as Botchway Jakun said, resigned in their heart, we are heading for another defeat.
Wow. Even though polls say Dr. Bawumia seems to be the favorite, 57.4% ahead of the others?
If that is true, but the last time he was the favorite too. Our problem is not the party. We are not electing a flag bearer. We are electing somebody who can be president.
Right.
Somebody that the country can look at with confidence. Somebody that the country can think is a better alternative to what the NDC has given us. And I think that if we keep doing the same thing and keep expecting different results, maybe we need to re-examine our thinking.
Right. Doc, thank you so much. Always an absolute pleasure having a conversation with you on these issues. Dr. Arthur Kennedy, he is a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, speaking to us from his base in the United States of America. But it's time to get into another conversation. The seemingly smaller political parties, as some of you like to refer to, but are they really small? Or our political system has not made enough room for these parties? That's the conversation we are having with none other than Stephen Atubiga right after this break. on GHOne Television. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. And as always, if you're looking for a smarter, more secure and eco-friendly way to stay connected, it's time to live seamlessly with MTN's eSIM. Enjoy the ultimate convenience of multiple numbers on one phone, switching seamlessly without swapping SIM cards and activated instantly from your home on my MTN app. So just dial *#06# to check the eligibility of your phone and get connected on MTN eSIM. My next guest is the founder and leader of the National Liberation Congress, Stephen Atubiga, no stranger to the screens here. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing today?
I can't complain. Very healthier than all doctors taking care of patients at the hospitals now. Very healthy. Anyway, good evening to your cherished viewers.
Right.
Good evening to all political parties and my fellow minority political parties. And good evening to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the running mate and the entire country. Good evening to every family, everybody. Good evening.
Absolutely. What have you been up to?
Been working. The day you lose an election is the day you start going back to correct your mistakes. And the day you win an election is the day you go fulfilling your promises. So as a politician, it's just like any other. It's a cycle. There is no stopping. So every day brings its own problems. People you have to visit, responsibilities, how you have to support government. Or when I mean support, not only praising, but you criticize, constructive criticism. After an election, there's a country to run. And the winner, you must support the winner to deliver good governance. Because if you go to the filling stations, they don't say this NLC, this MPP. It's all about tomorrow, it could be you. Today, somebody's turn. The only thing you can do if you love the country, support the winner to deliver good governance for all of us.
And how is John Dramani Mahama delivering on the mandate that Ghanaians gave him in 2024, from your perspective?
I will say he has surprised me more. He has made me to believe that it's always good for a president to do one term, back to the opposition, then come back. Today, he's like a political god. I mean, he has restructured this country in such a way that nobody is saying I'm rich. Nobody is saying my standard of living has changed. But there's comfort. There's no tension. There's money for value in the country. People know they don't have what they want, but they believe that where JDM has positioned the country, they know the future is bright. You must reset something. You must position things at the right places and start seeing the results. And the results, we all seen the results all over.
But the MPP thinks otherwise. I mean, they had a demonstration last week to say that they feel intimidated by the government as well with regards to the security services and how they are arresting MPP party folk, targeting them among others. And you say we all feel secure?
I think, to be honest and be fair, I don't think the MPP, my good friends, have the moral right to complain, especially telling the president. We're all in this country. I mean, I believe there is nothing like a perfect government. I believe there's nothing like a perfect president. I believe there's nothing like a perfect election. But if we all pull the political lens out of our faces and believe in the interests of Ghana, the MPP would rather sit back and say, look, we believe we made a mistakes. We were not giving people the opportunity to express themselves. Freedom of speech was only meant by if you were not an MPP member. We've all seen how people were arrested in a Rambo style. The freedom. I mean, it was like everybody was living hand tight. Today, we will not make such mistakes. So we are telling the MPP they shouldn't do the same to us. The MPP should not. We will change. Let's start somewhere. When MPP look in this country, the only time you see we politicians, it's a party that gives birth to a government. And when a party gives birth to a government, we only speak sense and speak knowledge and speak well when we are in opposition. Immediately we get power. Our attitude and everything changes. So the two political parties, the NDC, my mother political party, NLC mother party, MPP, our good friends, they must understand that until there's a third force, which we're hoping in 2024, we're hoping that Alan, who we all see as an experienced and astute politician, would have formed a political party. We tried that in Hassan Ayarga's house. I will bring my political party maybe as a vice chairman. Maybe Alan will come as the national chairman. Hassan Ayarga may come as a national organizer, together, all the political, we met so that we will all come under one umbrella, then have a third force, because Ghanaians didn't have no choice. 2024 election was like a ballot box coup d'etat, that Ghanaians just wanted a change. Right. They wanted to take the country from the incumbent MPP and give it to another person. They didn't care whoever, but when they looked through the minority political parties, they felt comfortable rather having JDM, who has been there before, who has done it before, and they gave it to him.
Is it a matter of being comfortable with JDM or getting to realize that, well, aside the NDC, perhaps no party has shown enough grit or ability to take on political leadership?
If you want to win power in this country, you should be doling out, your party should be able to muscle between $100 million, $150 million to $200 million to be able to be relevant to have a successful campaign. I'm talking about just to move your logistics, we the smaller parties. I'm talking about just to fuel your few vehicles that, of course, some of them are even rental. You're talking about between 15,000 to 20,000 just to move. I'm not talking about if you get to every region. If you cannot roll out 1 million Ghana, 2 million Ghana, I'm talking about the party preparing to meet you, the candidate. You have to go and give some chiefs, and then chiefs want someone V8. I mean, the logistics alone. That has been the problem why we, the minority parties, are not able to give both NPP and NDC a run for their money.
And it's basically the finances.
Yes, it's the finances, because the problems we also have in this country, Ghanaians says we politicians are corrupt, but they plant the seed of corruption in our pocket first, because the delegates would choose the depthness of the pocket of an individual instead of choosing common sense, somebody who is capable of doing the job. So in the delegates taking 100,000 Ghana, 200,000 Ghana, $5,000, $10,000 just to vote a candidate. Okay? By so doing, you've chosen an incompetent person who will come and be corrupt, trying to siphon the money back. If you took 10,000, it means I have to make sure when I come, I'm not looking at development. I have to siphon money. I'll be coming to you with 30,000. So if Ghanaians start choosing people not through the depthness of their pocket, the delegates, they serve us Ghanaians the plate of the incompetent leadership. Then when you also go around, the chief will be asking, the chiefs, I want a V8. Somebody will say, I want that. Somebody will say, and when you go, wherever you've spoken, not the common sense they're looking at what package you leave behind before you leave. I'm speaking as an experienced politician that I've gone around this country, if not thrice or 4 times, okay? Now, if you come and say, I'm a man of God, I won't touch your money, but I don't have anything for you. What do you hold now? They want to see you flashy with 200 V8s, 50 V8s, and glowing and whatever. I saw most of them had more billboards than the votes that they got, okay, some of my colleagues. So all I'm trying to say, at the end of the day, if we start choosing, corruption stands from the delegates, giving us corrupt leadership. And when they get there, they have to siphon more money and go back. But if they start choosing, Ghanaians can make a trial. Look, let's try NLC. NLC is let's give it a trial. So it will make MPP, NDC sit up that there's a choice. And that is the only way. So NDC and MPP is like take a Sprite bottle, you pour it out and put Fanta in it. The next month, the day is the same thing until we change or we start choosing serious leadership, and it can start in the parties.
But Stephen, you mentioned something that at a point you had a meeting in Hassan Ariga's house,
yes,
where you were looking at bringing together your resources, your energies to
yes,
be able to.
Yes.
Why didn't that work?
It didn't work because unfortunately it's either MPP or NDC. They take care of the smaller parties. Take it or leave it.
Including the NLC?
I'm saying that I am guilty myself. Every political party, because if you are in power, where are we getting the resources? Every day, look, let me give an example. With NLC, every 30 days, I'm giving every constituency chairman for data, 200 Ghana a month just for your data. That's about 50 Ghana a week. I'm just giving an example. Calculate 276 constituencies. I'm not talking about attending funerals, supporting people's school fees, the daily activities that every day at my level, every day, if I have to spend between 5,000 to 10,000 a day, I'm talking about smaller. But the bigger political parties, they spend millions and billions a day. Are you getting me? For example, where does it put you? When I say supporting other political parties, they run the country, okay? you want projects if you're a businessman. This is a country that they kill your business if you're very competitive, like what happened to Parko Sindom. Okay, they didn't support. Government supposed to make, we the minority political party, there should be a funding for us during election. I'm talking the minorities political parties. For instance, my background, I'm a socialist. I am not a capitalist. So whatever the MPP does, it doesn't move me. Whatever the socialist, I'm a socialist. If our vision is GHOne Rawlings, we broke out. Not that we sat down, we formed a party. We broke out from the NDC to protest, asking, demanding for reforms, pulling each other along, no monkey, they work babu chopping, making sure that we do capacity building. And everything that we demanded, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did not respond to our criticism during the elections, but he responded by fixing all of it when he got power. He made sure that the youth have gotten places to serve. He made sure that the party structure, you are pulled along. If you're a party chairman, you're a secretary, you can get a place. Because you went to the trenches and got the votes. So you must be given the position to go back. Whether we like it or not, there is reward in any position that they give you. You must go back and reward. Politics is business. There's personal interest. There's common goal. Okay? And there's business by itself. That's why in Parliament, before a bill is being laid or before they come business of the day, both minority and majority, they'll have a meeting in the chamber. Then they'll come up and whip people in line. So politics is business. So you will not form a party. I mean, it's a voter that has no choice. A voter's choice is one time. You choose whoever you want. But after that, it's done. But we, political party, we have a party structure. Right. Besides that, when we come out and speak, both locally and internationally, they listen to we, the minority political parties, if the incumbent or the sitting government is using all the resources given to them by the NGOs, are they using it well, or they are running a one-man show? So we have the voice. And at the same time, we can tell the political parties to sit up, like the NLC, the NDC in Akwatia. We saw that even one vote can make somebody a member of parliament. So we own the party. Rawlings told us, it is not what you do for the party. It's not what the party can do for you. It is what you do for the party that matters. I am an NDC sympathizer for life. I am not an NDC card-bearing member. Okay? But I'm a card-bearing member of the NLC till death. Now, the NLC sees the NDC as your father's house. Even when you build your home, you don't let your father's, run your father's house down. We criticize leadership. We don't criticize the party structure. Right. Leadership will come. Our slogan is, cadres will come, cadres will go. But the revolution has come to stay. Rawlings had 3 political parties, NDC, NDP, and NLC. If he was alive, equally we know he would have signed to be one of our fathers, just as he did for the NDP. So it's our responsibility to make sure that when leadership is leading our mother party, when they derail, we tell them what it is. Right. We have achieved our goals that most of the young appointees, they have called some of us to thank us that today, you don't need a godfather in the NDC to hold a political position. You don't need to bring somebody from abroad anymore. Some people didn't even know, some people got political power appointment, did not even know our chairman. You saw during JDM's time, 2012, all the way, our national chairman, God bless his soul, what's his name, Wayo. So many ways of killing a cat. He fought at the Flagstaff House, even trying to meet the chairman. And you saw that today, all has changed. Right. The party is being well taken care of. And the NDC has the best national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. He can make anybody a president in the NDC except himself. His position is uncompromising. His position, he has owned the party. He's very rigid. He knows what the party wants. And then he being the national chairman, he has reformed the party.
But even with him, people are not happy with him in the party because they feel that, well, the party just won elections, barely a year into the governance of John Mahama, and Johnson Asiedu Nketia seems to be sending subtle messages about wanting to lead the party, and people are not happy with him. I
have never heard Asiedu Nketia saying, I want to lead the party. I've never heard
that's why I said subtle.
Yes, but if you take somebody like Julius Deborah, who's very loyal to JDM. Julius Deborah has positioned himself. He came as a grassroots. And if JDM really delivered his first term and people brought him, is the chief of staff who whips the executives in line. Is the chief of staff. Look, chief of staff office is powerful than the vice president office. He when the president makes any promises, it is the chief of staff that will remind and make sure it's implemented. When resources from the president's office to the vice president's office, is the chief of staff that receives it. Is the chief of staff that makes sure that from the MDEs, the DCEs and all that, the local government minister, all the sector ministers, is the chief of staff that whips crack the whip for them to sit up. And if any government fails or is failing, it is the weaknesses of the chief of staff. They call him PNM one of the best chief of staff because he could sack you even before informing the president if you did. And so as Julius Deborah. So I think that people calling his name that he's the next, and if people really like the leadership of John Dramani Mahama, that's why you hear all over they are calling his name friends that think that vote Julius Deborah. Show me your friend and I'll show you his character. You saw allegedly, okay, today in the country, I'm a politician, we put our ears on the ground.
Right.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was punished because of maybe certain decisions that his boss took, President Anado. And the first time that we saw a presidential candidate being boldly, instead of glorifying his predecessor's achievement, he was honest with the people that, look, the e-levy and other things that they did, I wasn't in support of it. And that is what makes people, I respect, he earned my 100% respect. Right. Always we've seen, oh, my boss, this, he stood out as a man of himself, but he paid the price for it. So that's how politics, the game is. And I think that this time around, MPP will be making its own history. If they bring Bawumia, they'll be making their own history. For the first time in the history of this our country, they've given a northerner the second term to lead their political party until they make a president to make history, just like NDC made history the first time that they gave a northerner to lead the party and leading the country after 40 years of Dr. Liman's government.
But when you look at the recent polls, and because we're talking about the NDC and the MPP simultaneously, Global Info Analytics has put up a poll that suggests that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is in the lead when it comes to the NPP's presidential race. But then in the NDC, surprisingly, the polls reveal that Haruna Idrisu seems to be in the lead.
Well, polls always change. Haruna Idrisu is one of the astute young men that some of us, when I always make Northerners, I'm not trying to be tribalistic. We have always been running mates. They've always handpicked us and put us there just for symbolic or just to cover a vacuum. They pick us. We don't earn. That is why you see the capitalist. They will pick a vice presidential candidate who has a little background of the NDC, CPP, PNC, and what have you, and as a Northerner just to cover a vacuum. And some of us saw that, look, we want to also be president. We are tired of being running mates. And we made all the noise and whatever we did, the protests, and Ghanaians gave us a favor, the opportunity of starting with JDM. And he proved today, JDM is a yardstick to every Northerner, irrespective of your political colors. If you want to boast that I want to be president. When I wanted to contest to lead the NDC as a presidential candidate, why I stepped down and supported JDM, certain places I'll go, Uniani say, and those days, there was the party didn't pull the youth along. There was a didija. There was the scandal. a lot of problems in the party. I'm talking about 2016. So I said, wow, if I'm being judged based on JDM's performance, so why don't I support him who has been there, who has the experience, so that I can be a yardstick? And today, he has proven that any Northerner can also be president because he has opened the door. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if my big brother, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would say, look, NDC gave JDM an opportunity. He was also a Northerner. He has, so try me, give me the opportunity. But the MPP has gotten things wrong. You have to build a party structure before you start doing presidential. If you put your party in the reverse mode, you are building you are voting the heads first, who will be the leader. Then what happens to the bottom? They've
provided explanations to that. Listen, there's a crisis in the party,
yes,
and they believe that once they are able to select the leader early, now it would get everybody to rally behind the leader, and all the cracks that the party is experiencing will be mended easily towards 2028, where they can be able to win an election.
I think that's a suicide mission direction they have taken.
How?
Because right now, if you vote, if the delegates now vote and picks a candidate. And those delegates, majority of them, are not in support of the kind of delegate that they've chosen. Or during the elections, I mean the party structure elections, and most of those who win the election are not in support with you. And I can tell you with that fear that one of Dr. Mahmoud's Bawumia's lost is also internal wrangling of refusing to vote. Some of them refuse to vote him, okay, because they feel that with your indulgence, he's a northerner, he doesn't fit to lead us. There are some people, if you ask the other MPP, they will tell you, yeah, na when I started here, they will not tell you the good things that they think the party will be doing. They'll be telling you about how they belong, and which is true. And I always say, there's a proverb I always say in Chi, that if you see a northerner in that kuntunkuni, the cloth that they wear, leading Southerners in Ashanti region, dancing in Kwasi there, it's two things. Either he wants to be a Zongo chief, he needs a place to farm cocoa, or he wants to marry any of the big chief's children, or be their in-law and have strength there. I can say it in Chi better, maybe you understand. So who says Pepeni, Ephraim Kuntunkuni, Ewa Kwasi demo, Edi Asante for Asante Hinenimna or Sa doa, either Pe Koko Asiado, or Pe Dishe Bibi Awareno. And now Peso Dane Gangaria was Santimemo. It is uncalled for. Just like the NDC that I can tell you, right, is the only political party that the running mates are socialist. They pick them based on merit. They don't pick you to come and cover a vacuum. So I think that and some of them say they will not vote for how do you call it, Bawumia.
How do you know this? Because
I'm a politician.
There's a report, a whole report on what led to the MPP's defeat. And from what we have heard, I've not heard anybody talk about what you're saying.
Right now, to me, if the MPP really meant business, if there's really crisis, instead of going to an election there should be reconciliation. And together, they let the one who took them to the other election, who just lost based on the Ghanaians wanted a change and all that. They will rebrand each other, forgive each other, and let the fellow lead, and then they pick a running mate together, and then they will not muddy the waters. Put that person aside and allow the party structure to do the norm that this country we all know, that you don't fish rots from the head. Okay, and the foundation of a party structure is the structures of the party, not the leading. Anybody can lead from behind. Just as they tell us that, look, NLC, you will never win an election. We understand. But we don't mind bargaining with the NDC to get the running mate slot. And if we are bargaining to get the running mate slot, it's not necessarily they say Chibiga going to be the running mate. We will have a voice who we think. There will be closed door. Remember, there will be new leadership. And we are talking with the new leadership. We are dealing with the new leadership that are to take over the NDC. We are dealing with the new leadership that will be leading the NDC. And we are working side by side.
Is it the case that we are going to see the NLC go back to its roots?
The NLC is supporting JDM, is supporting the party structure today. We are in
anticipation of
supporting whatever structures that they are putting in place. We are praising them when it's due. Where praise is due, we're correcting them what they want to do. We have opportunity of sitting with some leadership, not all of them. Some leadership thinking ahead, the roadmap in working together.
Are you looking forward to an appointment?
No, but I'm happy. Everybody that I wanted them to have an appointment, they have had it, and that's the best decision. JDM has rewarded the NLC so well, and the rewarding is everything that we criticized him for. He has fixed it. Like, for instance, making sure that the grassroots, look at the youth, look at Basim Tale and Co., the young men all are having appointment. Look at regional ministers, regional secretaries are having appointment. And then the party has become so attractive today. He's doing money for value. Look at the big push. Today, you can call any leader and tell him, sit up, do this, and everything that he has rewarded us. We have nothing, and beside the reward, we have received thank you from most of the youth, most of the grassroots who have gotten appointed.
Stephen, I'm talking about the NLC. You and the people that make up the party. Have you been rewarded?
Yes.
Anyway, how?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
how does that benefit you?
But it benefits me because when we broke out of the NDC, we did not smile. We took them to the cleaners. We did what we had to do to make sure they sit up. And some of the leadership have called, Steve, it is your criticism that has made us to work so hard put us on our toes and we want power. Thank you so much. Those who understand. Today, we appreciate everything that they are doing. Okay? That is the reward. When I sit back, look at the employment, look at the big push, look at how the country, that is all NLC wants. Today, why should I leave my smaller home? If you have your house that is leaking, your rundown house, it is better than staying in somebody gold-plated house. Because one day, I'm a leader of a minority political party. I'm a bigger than any appointee. A leader and a founder of a political party is bigger than, because when you go
in terms of what?
In terms of political structure. I'm a president. When I was a presidential candidate, today I am not. Mm-hmm. When we go out, yes, Dr. John Dramani Mahama, Dr. Nana Addo Dankwa was the president, but it is every big political party started in a 4x4 room. When Kwame Nkrumah was building his party, he started in a 2x4 room. Everything is built small. Mm-hmm. Somebody's idea. You come out and people receive it. Mm-hmm. And we know that if we are able to gun the resources that we really need, we will make an impact in the country. Mm. If it's Asidun Ketia, I have a Asidun Ketia in my party. I have a national chairman. I have an organizer. When they are calling, when they are to go to FEC or they are to go to IPAC, they sit, no seniority. Are you getting me? I have a women organizer. The only difference is they have one power, they have what it takes, but in terms of party recognition and structure-wise, today, if the NLC makes me the presidential candidate, I'm also a candidate just like JDM. The only difference is he's in power. I can win power.
And for you, that's reward enough.
That is reward enough.
But then, when it comes to the NLC and how the minority parties are fed, yes, some way, somehow, you mentioned that the reason why that meeting did not go well was because of the big political parties, the NPP and the NDC. How do we now change the status quo?
We can change for Ghanaians to see our political system not being a joke, just as they think NDC, NPP is a joke. Mm-hmm. We start seeing that they put measures in place without political colors. Mm-hmm. Today, mm-hmm. This is the only JDM that has proven that I'm running the country to pull every political party or everybody along, irrespective of your political colors. Look at the flexibility of our country. Look.
Is that what is happening?
Yes.
Because like I said, the MPP says John Dramani Mahama and his administration consistently harassing
If the MPP were really serious, you don't need the president to change harassment. You go, the IGP is there, the Interior Minister is there.
They accuse the IGP, they accuse YOCO of these two institutions, the police service and the YOCO as well as the NIB, being used as machines to intimidate.
Let me get you an example. Today, if I was a minister under MPP, I had free V8, I had free fuel, free traveling allowance, free security.
Sometimes
thousand, free air ticket to travel with my family, free medical, and free to award contracts and get kickbacks, whether you like it or not. There are kickbacks when they make you a minister. You must cancel certain projects, previous projects. You must repackage them and reward. The government structure itself must reward the financiers who are the businessmen, whether take it or leave it. And that is the truth I'm telling you. Governance is also rewarding those who built the party, those who rewarded the party, those who financed the party. Some brought their knowledge, some brought their clout, some brought their resources, and some, even, I tell you, even the Azoka boys, the whatever boys, invisible forces, they all have to be rewarded. It's all parts and parcel of governance. Just like election, there's nothing like violence free. The whole country, the whole world, there's no election that there's no violence or somebody doesn't die. The problem is how many people die. It's just what it is. Then you sit down and ask yourself, where are you moving this country to? I hope you are getting me. Then we start removing the political lens. You stay in Trazako. You are eating Trazako wache. You are eating East Legon wache that they've packaged it, making it 300 Ghana. Whereby if I'm in Zongo, 300 Ghana is a whole week. I get it. Myself and my family can eat 50 cedis wache. If you go to Binduri and you come and sit on TV because those kickbacks are not coming, because those free fuel are not coming, those per diems are not coming, tell me the country is sad. You don't have that moral right. It's people like you at the private sector. It is the kayayis, the trot drivers, an average worker who has to get up and go to work in the morning. They have the right to say that. Me sitting here, I don't have the right to complain that the things are difficult.
Why? Because you're a politician?
Because I'm a politician. Two, nobody forced me to set up a political party. And if the political party comes with the responsibilities, I wake up in the morning, people are in my houses. Are you getting me? I wake up, somebody wants a school fees, somebody wants a medical bill paid, somebody will even call you that my third wife or my fourth wife, the family is harassing my in-laws wants their fourth cow back. And because you know he's somebody that has supported you or he has the cloud, you go. Somebody did, I have no... Are you getting me? Somebody's salary is what I spend a day. Somebody's salary is what I used to give gifts in a day. Somebody's business capital of 15,000, taking care of his wife and children or children and husband is what I give out. But how do I make that money? I make the money from my financiers. I make the money from people that support the party. I make my money, like NLC. Before we formed NLC, we have sitting appointed executives today in the NDC that were part of the NLC when we formed it. We have some of our members there. Apart from me, and maybe a few that I can boast that my party card has been taken away, our party structure, NLC party structure, throughout the whole country, they have two membership cards. They have the NDC one, and they have ours. They still attend NDC. That is why we are able to choose partake in the choosing of the leadership of the NDC.
So can you say you really have a party if your party members have two political party cards and are supporting the NDC as well as the NLC?
Haven't you seen NDC MPP members? They will pick during election, somebody will come and stand, he will remove NDC shirt he will wear, CPP shirt he will wear, APC shirt he will wear. It's what it is. I'm just being real. Okay. It is if you reach certain level in a political party, that is where they take your card away. They say we've taken your card. If I wasn't a leading member of the NDC, what is card? What is a party card? It's just to benefit participating in internal election and also participating in benefiting in the party. Let's say you be part of the appointees, but appointment can be given to. You've seen His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has made appointments to people that are not card-bearing members. The party doesn't flaunt on that, but it's when you want to lead the party. But today, I am proudly leading the NLC. I will not relinquish it for anything. I will hold on to the party, but it will be relevant.
Even when we are called back into the NDC?
That has been done in closed door by some leadership. I gave them within the leadership of the NLC. Without them, I'm not there. We gave a very good, we will work with you. We are socialists, but as to dismantling the NLC to join NDC and pick why will I be a leader and go and be an ordinary member of a party? I mean, why would, if I have a small portfolio under my armpit, I'm recognized internationally everywhere I go, a leader and founder of a political party, it gives me a seat, a seat to sit at everywhere. Here am I. I didn't pay a dime. It's not because I'm from Binduri. I'm not intelligent. I am not handsome than everybody. I have education-wise, I'm nothing to write home about. But here am I being given a seat. Right. We have about almost 45 million Ghanaians, and I'm given the privilege to sit here.
By virtue of the fact that you are a founder
leader of a party. What else do I want?
Right.
It's not about what you take home.
Right.
I can call the president now if I want. I can walk to him when I want. I have access to every leader, both opposition and you name them. I sit. Opposition members will call me and say, Mr. Tubiga, me pese me the president, me leading party into me fra Bawumia. Okay? Somebody will call Bawumia, na me running mate. Because we have voice, we have a portfolio, so as in the NDC. I endorse General Mosquito, Asiedu Nketia, and campaign for him to be chairman. Yamin the same. The only person I failed is, we failed was a free Ankara. And I gave him a courtesy call. I said, my brother, are you interested? Because we don't give up on people. He said, this time I have given up. And we will continue, we will support General Mosquito again to be the best chairman. We know what he has done for the NDC. We know how he has restructured the party that our colleagues...
And will you support him to be president or flag bearer of the NDC?
He has not told me he wants to be a president.
But if he does?
He won't be. He's not the first person or the second person or the third person. Those who want to be running mates are talking to us.
Right.
Those who want to be presidents are talking to us. And those who we feel we can support them to be president after JDM, we are also talking to them. Remember, politics is personal interest, common goal, and business.
Okay. So what's the way forward for the NLC?
The way forward for the NLC next month ending, we will be going around the whole country to revamp our party, to put our structures together. We are left with about 44 offices were rejected by the EC. That's why we didn't get our final certificate. We have our provisional, correct our mistakes. And while we are doing that, we'll be talking to our mother party members. Who do you think we should rally behind? Who do you think? So, you see, winning an election, not necessarily me being on the ballot box. I can be on the ballot box, but we'll be campaigning, tilting towards a particular candidate. We can work with a particular candidate to lead our mother party. Absolutely. A good politician, you should know your strength, you should know your weaknesses, you should know where you're heading towards to, and you can lead from behind, you can support from behind, or you can support at the front. But we will play a role in choosing the new leadership to lead the NDC first. Then we will play a role together with them who leads the NDC. We will be on the ballot, and we are hoping to have an alliance. Like I told you, our dream is to be given the running mate. Okay. Even if it's not me, it should be somebody else from the NLC, or the NLC hanging on somebody within the NDC okay. to have a common goal. Are you getting me? So as we will support a candidate and a running mate to lead the NDC. So talking about the polls, the polls will always change. Okay. We have always loved Mahama Yarga, Haruna Idrisu, Mukhtar, and other Atoforsen. There are a lot of intelligent people in the NDC that we saw them, or we see them as a good running mate to pair our mother party. So as we see people like Julius Debra, we see just like the Haruna Idrisu, and one thing, the Agric minister, we see as we see all of them as as presidential material. Okay. But all of them bring a speciality on the table, which the delegates will decide who leads. But at the right time, we'll add our voices. That's fine. But we have a choice. But we can't mention the name now. I hope you get me. Okay. Yes.
Why can't you mention the name now?
The timing is very wrong.
What are you scared of? Because I don't know you to be scared of anything.
Yes, but we've not done a well consultation.
That's fine.
And we have a business deals on the table, cutting across both the running mate and who leads and what have you. Okay. Until we stand and look, this is where we are going. I can't come and break the ice.
Very well. I think we should have you back on the show one of these days and have more discussions. Yes. But we're grateful that you came today.
I am grateful given the opportunity
Absolutely.
To be on this big platform.
Stephen Atubiga, he is the founder and leader of the NLC.
And before I leave,
yes,
I would like to tell Ghanaians, some people say Atubiga is not serious. You see, if there was a school for presidency, I would have attended. If there was a shirt and a dressing, or there's some kind of church, or there's a kind of food, there's a kind of walking, there's a kind of haircut, there's a kind of things that you do that makes you a presidential. Yes, any lunatic can be voted in as a president. And a good president is not a good president, only holds scissors, his suitcase, to go around commissioning projects. It is the people that you choose. My brother, do you know my biggest achievement? When I chewed the butt of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama that he has left we Nordness, he didn't pull us along. Today, I am happy that if JDM fails, it is we Nordness that have failed him. He has given Nordness, how do you call it, position to the extent that sometimes I cry that it's too much. I hope you get what So sure. Just people to know that Atubiga is a raw deal for the fact that I praise when praises are due, and I criticize when criticism is due.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. This is still State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. We'll be back right after this break. All right, thank you so much for sticking us with us here on A State of Affairs on GHOne television. My next guest is an aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and he's joining us to have a conversation on Operation Recover Old Loans. I mean, if you recall, it was one of the things that was championed and led by the now Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, while the NDC was in opposition, clearly given indication that so much has been looted in terms of state resources, for which reason, when the NDC gets the nod of the Ghanaian people, there would be meticulous work done to be able to recover every single money that is believed to have been looted by appointees of the erstwhile government, I should say. And so we're told that so many cases were received, and sometime, months on, let's get to appreciate from the MPP's perspective work being done there. And Kwasi Botchway Jr. is joining me. Kwasi, good evening.
Good evening, Josh.
I hope you're doing well.
Oh, very well, by the grace.
And I know you came well prepared with documents as well to get into it. But then briefly, let's touch on this because polls were released. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the lead. It should come to you as no surprise at all.
Yeah, it's actually not a surprise. Good evening to you. Good evening to everybody watching us. I was on the ground last Thursday. We were in the central region. We had the opportunity. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia engaged the constituency executives, the regional executives, the Council of Elders, Council of Patrons. He also engaged the former appointees and the entire, regional party in the Eastern region to sell his vision to them, to sell his ideas to them, to sell his campaign to them. And the response, the feedback was overwhelming. It was clear. After we left Eastern region, that the people of Eastern region had shown love to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You recall that about 15 out of 23 MPs in the Eastern region actually held a press conference to throw their support and weight behind the candidature of His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And prior to that, we had visited the Ashanti region. We all know that the nucleus of the MPP is with the Ashanti region. That is the basics and the foundation of our party. And so we visited the Ashanti region after he filed his nomination forms to also speak to the party executives in the Ashanti region, from the constituency level to the former appointees level, the regional executives, and all the stakeholders in the Ashanti region, to declare his intention to them that he will be running for the flag bearership contest. And so he also used the opportunity to sought their support and their advice on this campaign trail. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has not started the polling station or constituency by constituency engagement yet.
Okay.
What he's currently doing is currently in the central region, actually. What he's currently doing is to engage the constituency, regional, Council of Elders, Council of Patrons, the former appointees, former ministers, former members of parliament, who are basically the stakeholders in our electoral college, to sell his vision to them. And then when he's done, he will go to the grassroots. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a grassroots person. And so he would go to the grassroots to engage with the grassroots. He would move from constituency to constituency. He's going to spend about close to 150 days on the ground discussing and talking to the polling station executives, selling his ideas to the polling station executives. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said times without number that he is a man of ideas. He doesn't necessarily have a deep pocket, but he is a man of ideas.
Right.
And so he has a lot of ideas that can transform this country, that can, create more employment and to ensure that the people of this country are okay. But again, let me just quickly add this. I was listening to I don't know if it's flag bearer hopeful or president hopeful. The gentleman is just Stephen Atubiga. Yeah, I don't know what he wants to be, but
he's flag bearer of a party.
Flag bearer of a party. So he's flag bearer already. So he
Yeah.
wants to be president.
Yeah.
That's fine. I was listening to him, and then he was making the case that a lot of people did not come out to vote for the MPP because of the perception that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia hails from the north. In fact, there is no research to back this statement. There is no research or no scientific data to establish and to prove that the MPP lost the 2024 elections because of the candidature, personality, tribe, or religion of His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And in fact, this is not the first time a lot of people are speculating and engaging in propaganda after an electoral loss. It happened in 1992 when GHOne lost. In fact, that led us to write the Stolen Verdict, book. It happened in 1997 as well when President Kufuor lost. It happened in lost in the 1996 election. Sorry, yes. It happened in 2009 when we lost the 2008 elections. In fact, people even said President Akufo-Addo can never be president. They said a whole lot about the candidature and personality of President Akufo-Addo. It happened in 2013 after we lost the 2012 elections that we went to court. You remember, you and I were not there, and all those things.
The election petition.
Absolutely. And it's happening now in 2025 after the NPP lost the 2024 elections. And so this is not the first time people are engaging in speculations and propaganda after an electoral loss. It happens all the time. Anytime there's an electoral loss or a party goes into an election and loses, people would want to find somebody to blame other than themselves. And so it is very, easy to blame the flag bearer for the electoral loss because he was the leader of the party going into an election. And so it is very fine for people to blame Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. However, they have to blame him with a reasonable cause. You don't just have to blame him for blaming him sake and engaging in unnecessary propaganda and speculations. That is totally unwarranted and uncalled for. Right. In fact, there has been several reports after the electoral loss. There's been Okwe report, Professor Michael Okwe report. There's been the Ashanti Regional Party report. There's been an inquiry report by Musa Dankwa. There's been a report by the German right-wing party, Konrad Adenauer, and so many reports. None of these reports have been able to establish that NPP lost because of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. However, the report, outlines several reasons why the NPP lost. Reshuffle, the report outlines Ken must go, the report outlines high cost of living, and in fact, I'm sure you are aware that about 80% of incumbent government across the globe lost their elections after the COVID-19 pandemic. And so there are several reasons why we lost. In fact, internal party issues, DCs are not in good terms with PC, parliamentary candidates, some MPs having problems with their municipal chief executives, and so many other reasons.
There's no secular
in fact, the haircut, the DDEP was also one of the integral reasons why we lost. Right. People were complaining about roads. You go to Mankranso, part of the country, a lot of people were complaining about roads. Party people were complaining about Ididija, that they were hungry. People were, stashing cash in government, and so many allegations. We also lost because of the utterances of some of our leaders in the party, calling about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia names and all kind of things. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not and cannot be the reason why the NPP lost the 2024 elections. His religion and his tribe is also not a contributing factor to the reasons why we lost the 2024 elections. There are so many reasons that,
I get that. And I'm sure that at another forum, we can even delve deeper into them. But tonight, we're focusing on Operation Recover All Loot.
Right.
A system that was established by the NDC, ostensibly to crack down and then make sure that we are seeing a reversal of all that is believed to have been looted in previous administrations. And we're told that it's going to be an accountability initiative and a strong tool to check against corruption, among others. And from where you sit, looking at what has transpired since John Mahama became president, where's the needle pointing to?
Thank you very much. I think that, to start with, instead of oral being an accountability tool or a tool to check, corruption or persons who are alleged to have mismanaged state funds. Oral is rather being used as a tool to harass and persecute political opponents. And in fact, some appointees within this current government architecture, and I'll mention names, for instance, Raymond Acha is using oral as a tool.
You mean the Yoko boss?
Yeah, the Yoko boss. He's using, clearly from his conduct and his demeanor, he's using oral as a tool to settle personal scores. Clearly from his conduct and his demeanor. And so the entire oral scheme is being used by this government to brand former appointees of the President Akufo-Addo administration as thieves and corrupt. And so they just pick a name, Kwasi Botchway. And then they say Kwasi Botchway is a thief because he was working with National Cathedral and so has stolen money. Up to now, it's like a National Cathedral matter in court. No, but we were made to believe that people had actually siphoned money through the National Cathedral project. We were made to believe that people had stolen money through the NSS, secretariat. As we speak, the NSS matter is not even in court.
But President Mahama mentioned that.
But the matter is not in court. 9 years on.
9
months on after you don't need 9 months to, institute a legal action in court. When in opposition, you alluded to the fact that you have all your evidence and that you were very sure that certain persons, in fact, they named the person, showed their pictures, held press conference that those persons had, stolen state funds, had created ghost names to steal millions of cedis from the Ghanaian people. 9 months on, the matter is still not in court. They've not been able to go to court. And so clearly, I think that it is very easy to label somebody as a thief, but it is very difficult to prove that the person or establish that the person is actually a thief in a court of competent jurisdiction.
So you believe that's what the NDC is facing?
Yes, that is what they are facing, because the entire oral scheme is more of politics other than law. Clearly, I'll go into the cases one after the other. Oral is more of politics other than law. They are trying to play politics with oral. They are trying to, appease their fan base, appease their foot soldiers, because during the campaign, they made the Ghanaian people believe that the members or appointees of the SWA administration are thieves. And so this government has to do something to, they have to, what people call settings. They have to engage in some form of settings for people to believe that they are actually, recovering the loot, when in actual fact, they are not recovering the loot. I ask, is oral targeted only at MPP members? Because when these people came, when the NDC administration, they assumed office, there were matters that were ongoing in court. That also had to do with people who had looted state funds, and so, fell under the ambit of oral. They came, fast forward, took all their people out of court, filed noli prosequi in the Segleme housing issue, so many other instances or matters that were in court, filed noli prosequi, took all their people out of court because they feel their people are more human than members of the New Patriotic Party. And so they removed, stopped prosecuting all the NDC members standing trial and rather started harassing members who are affiliated or believed to have worked under the former administration. And so that alone, that single action of the Attorney General alone, cast doubt around the entire oral scheme and also makes the entire oral scheme a politically, masterminded and orchestrated agenda just to label and tag members of the MPP administration as thieves. And so I think that the oral scheme is a complete political tool, and so it must be treated as a political, tool, and that we must interrogate the matters, further.
It is said that the wheels of justice grind slowly. You are counsel yourself.
Yes.
Isn't that what is happening here? Or you say that per the noise that was made, 9 months should be enough time to have really seen some concrete action done in the law courts.
Because in opposition, they told us that they have the concrete evidence.
In
opposition, in fact, they held press conferences. Exactly, they presented to President Mahama that the case of National Cathedral, for instance, Okujetu Ablakwa held press conferences to say that he has evidence of people stealing money through the National Cathedral scheme. 9 months on, we are still not in court. Nobody's in court standing trial for siphoning money or stealing from the National Cathedral project. 9 months on. But you see, I'll answer your question. The reason why I think oral is more political is because we live in a constitutional, dispensation, where in our criminal jurisprudence, our criminal laws, safeguard the rights of people. In this country, people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. In this country, accused persons are entitled to fair trial. In fact, the law, if you look at the criminal, jurisprudence of this country, the law actually is in favor of the indolent. It's in favor of the accused person. Yeah. And that is why every accused person has the right to defend himself or has the right to remain, silent even until the prosecution is able to establish the guilt of the accused person beyond reasonable doubt. And that is a higher threshold than what we have in the civil, jurisprudence. However, the modus operandi of this government led by the Attorney General is that once somebody is suspected to have engaged in a corrupt scandal, they invite the media, invite everybody, speak to the media and prosecute the media, convict the person in the media, and in some instances, even invite the accused persons to come for a plea bargain in the media. It has never happened in this country. It has never happened. No attorney general has conducted
public accountability?
No public accountability by calling accused persons to come for a plea bargain. How is that public accountability? As a prosecutor, your job is to go to court, gather your evidence and your fact, present it before a court of competent jurisdiction, for the court of competent jurisdiction to determine the guilt or otherwise of the accused persons. As a prosecutor, you don't mount a media platform to say that somebody has created a web of complex criminal enterprise and used it to siphon state monies, and that the person is about 40-something years old, and if the person is convicted, he or she will be convicted for about 25 years, and by the time he comes out, he will be 60-something or 70-something years, and so therefore the person should come for a plea bargain deal. As an attorney general, you don't do that. As an attorney general, your forum is not the media, your forum is the courtroom. But because the politics in them supersedes the professional duty in them, and that is why they find the media space as a forum to rather justify their actions. Let me go into the matter of Kwabena Dubois.
Okay.
We were in this country when one morning the Attorney General organized a press conference to say that a gentleman called Kwabena Dubois, who worked at the National Signals Bureau, had transferred state funds from a state BNC, what he calls a state BNC, into a private BNC he has created, and has used the monies to buy properties in Kumasi, London, and has bought 27 houses or 35 houses or so at Mayfair. That is what the Attorney General made us to believe, that somebody has stolen money. Now, he held another press conference. As at the time he held the first press conference, he had not instituted any charges against Kwabena Dubois and the people he mentioned. He held another press conference, I think 2 weeks after, and also came to make some allegations against Kwabena Dubois that now he has discovered more information about Kwabena Dubois with regards to a water company scandal, and that the monies Kwabena Dubois has stolen from the state, in fact, he is richer than all presidents, the wealth of all presidents combined in this country, made everybody see, including myself, see Kwabena Dubois as a criminal. Because the way the Attorney General presented the matter, in fact, I was actually shocked. I'm sure you were actually shocked yourself, that for a person to be able to have 27 or 35 houses at Mayfair alone, then the person must have really stolen government money. Fast forward, Attorney General couldn't institute charges. He had to take Kwabena Dubois to institute a defamation action in a civil court against the Attorney General before he went to a criminal court to, institute criminal charges against Attorney Kwabena Dubois for stealing monies and whatsoever. Now, let's interrogate the issue, because the matter is sub judice. I will not really go into the merit of the matter.
Absolutely, because it's still.
However, because the AG chose the media forum to prosecute him, we have every right to also let the public know the truth in this matter, in the media, space, because the AG was the first person to come into the media space. You remember that in the AG's press conference, he mentioned that Kwabena Dubois was the director of a BNC, Bureau of National Communications. Now, the BNC is a secretariat under the National Security Council until sometime in December 29th, 2020, when their act was passed by Parliament before it became an autonomous agency called the National Signals Bureau. And so before December 2020, there was nothing like National Signals Bureau in this country. It was the Bureau of National Communications, which was a secretariat under the National Security Council. Just like you go to the National Security Council, there is the legal department, there is the audit department, there is the transport and logistics department, there is the communications and research department. The Bureau of National Communications was also a secretariat under the National Security Council.
Okay.
In this country, secretariats do not have budget from the central government. For instance, this is GHOne. GHOne falls under EIB. So if EIB is the mother institution and GHOne is a secretariat under EIB, if the Ministry of Finance is allocating monies to government agencies, you don't expect the Ministry of Finance to allocate monies to GHOne. The monies will be allocated to EIB. Exactly, right. And then EIB, with their own discretion and internal mechanisms, would then allocate money for special operations for GHOne, Star FM, Ago TV, and whatsoever. That is exactly how the national security architecture works. So the National Security Secretariat is the mother institution, which has a coordinator. And the national security is actually by law directly overseen by the president. It is only the secretariat that is managed by the coordinator because the president does not have the time and liberty to manage the day-to-day affairs of the National Security Secretariat. And so BNC, being just a department under the National Security, architecture, the director was reporting directly to the National Security Coordinator because that's his boss.
Okay.
In fact, I have a copy here of Kwabena Dubuahin's appointment letter. And the appointment letter clearly reads that he was appointed even by Joshua Cheme, who was the then National Security Coordinator. His appointment didn't come from the president. Because as a director, you are appointed by your agency head. For instance, if you are the PRO for Ministry of Agric, your appointment will not come from the president as a PRO for Ministry of Agric, but your appointment will come from the Minister for Agric. Right. That is the same thing that happened in the case of Kwabena Dubuahin. And so now we know that Kwabena Dubuahin, as Director BNC, did not have, funding from the Ministry of Finance. All funding that was used for his operations and whatever from the National Security Secretariat. Now, we all hear about state BNC, state BNC, state BNC. I dare say that there's nothing like state BNC. The Attorney General has succeeded in misleading everybody, for everybody to believe that there is something called a state BNC. When in actual fact, the name of the account is the National Security Coordinator's Special Operations Account. That is the name of the account. In fact, I will show you a document here. So there's a document here that labels, this is a checkbook. Right. That labels the Director BNC. So this is what Raymond Archer saw. In fact, let me say that the entire Kwabena Dubuahin matter from the Attorney General, we know that was investigated and cooked by Raymond Archer.
The Yoko boss.
Yeah, the Yoko boss. It wasn't the Attorney General or the CID that investigated the matter. The Attorney General makes us understand that it was the Yoko boss that cooked everything, and so everything came from the Yoko boss. Now, this is a checkbook. This is from their own disclosure, so it's a matter of public knowledge. So this is a checkbook from Fidelity Bank. You realize that the name on the checkbook is Director BNC. Okay. And the last digits on the account number is 849. You see that, right? And it's labeled the Director BNC. And then you realize this is pay the Director BNC. And so immediately the Yoko boss saw this. He assumed that the Director BNC has signed a check to pay himself and traced where the money was going to. And then he realized that the money was going to an account named the Bureau of National Communications Limited. And so was under the impression and assumption that it was going into a private account created by the accused person, Kwabena Dubuahin, and the wife. You understand? Where in actual fact, this account is not called the Director BNC. But because of the national security operations, usually they don't want to leave traces. And so they find a way to, use decoys to... Because this checkbook will go to a bank, go to a teller. You don't know. Maybe the teller is even a Russian spy. And so you don't expect that the checkbook will read National Security Secretariat or the National Security Coordinator. So let's go back to the account number. What's the account number here? 849, the last digit. The last 3 digits of the checkbook. So this is the National Security Coordinator's account that the AG put out. This is all over social media. Now, what's the last digit here?
That is 849.
Good. And what's the account name here?
Coordinator's account NSC.
Good. So coordinator's account, NSC means National Security Council.
Okay.
So you realize that the account number on the checkbook, in actual fact, the name on the account is the coordinator's account, National Security Council. However, on the checkbook, to serve as a decoy, you cannot write this on the checkbook. Please, do you understand? And so the account that the AG, in a misleading manner represents or falsely represents as a state BNC, it's not a state BNC. It's actually from the National Security. It's for the National Security Coordinator. And so if an account is for the National Security Coordinator, then it means the account was created by the National Security Coordinator. It was not created by the Director BNC. And so if an account doesn't belong to me, Kwasi Botchway, and it belongs to you, Josh, do I have the power to withdraw monies from the account without your authorization?
No, basically no.
Absolutely. And so that is how it works. And so the account doesn't belong to Kwabena Dubuahin. And so by trite knowledge, he doesn't have the power to withdraw monies without the express authorization of his National Security Coordinator, that is Joshua Cheme.
Right.
And as we stand now, National Security have not been able to complain or to make any, allegation or report to anybody that certain monies from the National Security coffers have gone missing. All these documents, they go through phases of transition. In 2020, the NPP Part 1 government would transition to the President Akufo-Addo Part 2 government, and then to the John Mahama Part 1 government. So all these documents are available at the National Security Secretariat. That any check will reveal what I'm saying. And in fact, these documents have been put out in the media. It's in the media already. I got it from the media space, So if a little, due diligence was done by Raymond Atta and his team, and even the respected and venerable Dominican Union, whom I have a lot of respect for, if a little due diligence was done, this would have been, seen.
Right.
So clearly, there is nothing called a state BNC. And I'm daring the Yoko boss and anybody within the government architecture to come and prove the account number and any account number or account name that goes as state BNC. There is nothing like that.
Absolutely.
Now, about the private BNC, quick one.
Yes, quick one.
They make us believe
we have really run out of time.
Quick one. They make us believe that there is something called a private BNC that Kwabena Dubois, his wife, created, and that is what they were using to siphon.
The monies were going to those accounts.
To siphon money, yes. Absolutely. Now, for the benefit of viewers, I would want you to read this letter.
Okay.
Yes, read this letter out.
So, operations accounts authorization for special operations under the Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Network Project. Following discussions held with the Universal Merchants Bank and subsequent agreements reached on statutory documentation required for account opening, your kind assistance is sought and approval is hereby given to open and operate special operations accounts in the name of the BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to which the Director of the Government Communications Headquarters must be signatory for special operations.
Who signed this letter?
And it's signed by Joshua Chereme, National Security Coordinator.
So clearly, the private BNC that is being referred to
was actually set up.
Was actually sanctioned by Joshua Chereme. And it was Joshua Chereme that suggested the name of the account as BNC Communications Bureau Limited.
So this was not set up by Kwabena Dubois.
Absolutely.
As per the document.
Absolutely. And so clearly it is not anybody, nobody has created a private BNC account. So there is no transfer as a land. There is no transfer between a state BNC into a private BNC. That has been falsely misrepresented. Okay. And there are so many other details that
but I'm sure we would have to find time.
We would have to find time.
Talk about
but if you may let me land briefly. If you may let me land briefly.
Right, because we need to go.
You see, we've been made to believe, just 2 minutes, we've been made to believe that even the monies involved was meant for the procurement of a cyber defense system. However, the AG has not been able to provide any documentation to prove that the money was actually meant for the procurement of the cyber. Because before government, allocates money to you, government will give you the reason for allocating it, maybe to buy a microphone for operation this, operation that. The AG must provide, everybody must know the purpose of the money for which he says that the money has been directed. Again, if he says that the money...
We're really out of time.
you see, as I learned, you know why I'm emotional about this matter? This could have been anybody.
Right.
And in fact, this government is setting a bad precedent for future security chiefs.
I think we need to bring Kwasi back to delve deeper into these matters. But thank you so much for watching us. And Kwasi Botchway, Junior Esquire, is aide to Dr. Bawumia, helping us appreciate that conversation. Have a wonderful night.